Hello and welcome back to Pseudoregalia. Today we'll be exploring a bit further into not Castle Salsa, Castle Sansa. And we'll see what we can find in here. There's a lot more of these little chickens in the weather before. I quite like this enemy type, they're quite cute. Although you have to be kind of careful not to run into them because this game does have contact damage. So even if the enemy's not actively touching you, the main way these chickens hurt you is by running into you. I got kind of careless here and got hit a few times. And also I wish I picked that up a bit sooner than I do, but we'll see why. Yeah, I need to be a lot more careful with these guys. Yeah, so this gives us increased combat capabilities, which basically means those three little pips on the left that heal us, that are consumed when we heal, those now do something else as well. When you have two pips, they extend the range of your attack, and when you have all three of them filled, they make your attack stronger. So let's head in this direction behind the statue, shall we? I quite like as well that we get it by a massively armed statue. It's a good way of foreshadowing that this upgrade upgrades our attack, giving it like an attack design thing. I also like the giant swords and things like that, and these weird little sousaphone guys. This gives quite a lot of enemy variety, and I quite like that. So let's scope out this room before we drop down into it to see what we have to deal with. Yeah, one thing I've been quite impressed with this game with so far is the variety of areas. Like, I actually thought, you may notice this game, this level's only, this video is only 17 minutes long. I thought I was playing for a lot longer than that because of how much I actually get done and how far I end up going in this area. Which says a lot about how much variety this game has. Because a lot of games like, for example, Power Wash Simulator, you can play like a single level and all of a sudden you've been gone for like 3 hours and it's just like, where did time go? But this game really feels like it respects my time more, because you can get so much done in such a short period of time. Here I'm just figuring out these bubbles. They're quite interesting. You kind of the main thing we've learned at the moment is if you jump into one, you can then quickly jump out of it. You can kind of stay in there for quite a while as well. And there's also something else about the bubbles as well that I'll learn in a minute. Of course, even more enemy variety coming up, which is quite nice, because a lot of games struggle with enemy variety, end up giving you like the same enemy a million times over, but there's this poltergeist-made thing that throws plates at us. Now we're dealing with a sousaphone guy, and we actually see what they do with throwing music notes at you in a spread pattern. I quite like how a lot of the enemies as well deal in ranged attacks, so you have to be kind of careful which attack patterns you're dealing with at once. That makes it quite engaging. So we've only really got one place to go, because this is just too far for us to jump to. Yeah, so the way this place is going to go is, I don't know where all these little branches that I'm kind of skipping over go to. And yeah, here, as you can see from the bubble, if you jump out of the bubble and then press the jump button again, you actually get fired forward. That's the little thing the bubbles do that I kind of figure out. This is a neat little mechanic. That makes me very suspicious of the Princess's Handmaiden. I'm assuming, from what I've seen so far, that the princess may have been a perfectly normal person before whatever the Handmaiden's been giving her may have made her go weird or something, but we'll find out exactly what was going on there. That's just my current thoughts on the plot there, given what we know so far. So here's where I really learn how the bubbles actually work. Of course, that's what this area is for, is to teach you about the whole thing with also I quite like, because of how they work, you can actually quite easily save yourself as well. That's one thing I quite like with this game, is often you can kind of save yourself like that, if you know what you're doing. I quite like how satisfying that little pew sound is as well, but yeah, we're going to go to the right here. But I don't know where all these little branches that I'm skipping over are going to go. Like, I don't know what's to that left room. But what I'm planning on doing with that is I'm going to come back to these areas later on, but I'm going to get further into the game first because I want to find out if the game gives me any kind of like a map system or any kind of fast travel between the crystals, because otherwise there'll be a lot of backtracking through corridors that may not be strictly necessary if the game later on gives us more easy ways of navigation. So because it's all about movement, for now I'm just going to keep moving forward in whatever direction I pick and screwing up jumps like that. Yeah, something I learned here pretty quickly is that the ceiling really gets in the way. So you have to be kind of careful not to be up at the ceiling. You have to kind of judge your height to be at a decent sort of a thing so you can get a good arc going in your jump. Because, as you can see here, without the ceiling being in the way, I made it a lot further. Also, this guy throwing things at us is getting a little bit annoying, so let's try and get out of his way, shall we? It's a big weird hand thing. But again, new enemy type. So many of those throughout this game, it's really cool. I also like how the rooms are very unique as well, so it gives a good kind of visual markers, so it's very easy to tell where you are in relation to the rest of the level, because you'll just recognise, oh, I know this room. And here, of course, we've raised a little platform, so we can move forward now in this room. Yeah, the healing system reminds me quite a lot of Hollow Knight. That confused me a little bit because I didn't realise how far away the swinging axe actually is from that platform. It was actually quite far back. It was just kind of, it looks a bit closer to the platform than it is, so I kind of thought it was over the platform, but it's really not. Also, I killed these guys just to get our healing back, but you don't need to see me doing this. Just know that I kill all of them. And yeah, that's something we'll come back to again later on, because of course we can't get there yet. Don't stop me trying, because you never know. But we'll actually get what we need for that later on. Yeah, I quite like how a lot of these rooms as well have very obvious setups, certain mechanics that we're going to learn in a bit, as a kind of a, yeah, this is what's coming. It's a very fun visual, it's a very common way games show of what's coming up, like showing you all these different things you'd be able to interact with if you had that power up. But it's used quite a lot because it's effective, and it's always cute when you see it happen. Yeah, we can barely make it over there. So this is actually the, I believe this is the ledge from that previous room with all the, when we first saw the bubbles, but before we go this way, let's go in this other direction instead, because I'm more curious about this way. Because part of it as well is I don't know if the way forward that I'm going, if I end up going in a separate direction, I don't know if it's going to suddenly end because suddenly I'll need another power up that I haven't got yet. So instead of wasting a bunch of time going back to every branch I've seen too early and end up finding out, oh, I need something else as well as this particular power up, I'm just going to kind of wait till the game naturally, more naturally puts me closer to them. So like if the game naturally drops me at the beginning of the castle, then I'll go back in the dungeon area to check that one corridor we couldn't get to. That's kind of how the strategy will work, just let the game naturally lead me to certain locations. So I don't know what's in each area, I have no idea what's going on. This is a pretty big room, but let's take a look through this big broken wall first, shall we? Oh, these little weird floating objects. Don't know what significance they have, but it's interesting that they're just kind of floating there. Also quite like this big sort of a symbol over the door showing that we're about to go into a whole new area, the Listless Library. This area is pretty cool. I quite like all of the hay everywhere and everything like that. It really kind of brings to mind the idea that it may used to have been a normal library, or then maybe something happened involving having to store animals here, or maybe it just fell out of favour and became a mess because it wasn't being looked after very well. But listless also gives kind of the implication of something that's kind of given up. To become listless is essentially to kind of stop having any real motivation. So it could just be that the library has fallen out of use and just kind of been used as storage for hay. I don't know what they'd be storing the hay for, but maybe we'll see later on. Maybe we'll discover what the hay's being stored for. This isn't foreshadowing, just guesswork. I quite like all the bookshelves in the library and everything like that, because of course that's what's going to be here. I like these little exam prompts as well. We can see little stories, like I quite like those little the ideas they have for these little stories that they're telling about, like the little thimble that goes on an adventure, and the girl that goes to another place as well. There's a lot of cute little in-universe fables and some self-help guides as well. This is of course something we can't open, so I'll find the way over there. I like the musical theory joke. So let's climb across all these bookshelves, shall we? And get higher up the room. Yeah, the air control in this game is very handy. It's a game that would not work as well if it didn't have as good air control, because it means you can save yourself from a lot of stupid jumps. It's just floaty enough to be satisfying without being floaty enough to be confusing. Yeah, I flew too close to the sun there. Let's get back up there, shall we? The magic of editing. Quite like the music here as well. This game's generally got quite a lot of polish. I also like how that slides you straight onto a bookshelf as well. It's a very cute placement there. It really doesn't need to, it'd be fine if you fell, but let's see what this power-up is, shall we? I quite like this one's in a glass case as well, giving the implication that someone's either putting it on display or just trying to keep it out of our grip. And now we can do an air kick. So an air kick as normal without any walls, you can just do it once in the air, and that's just kind of a little dash. And if we do it kicking off stuff, we can do it up to 3 times. This is a very versatile wall jump. It's very satisfying to use. And here, just make sure it can't kick that down, but it can't. It looks like this kick doesn't actually do any real damage. It just kind of is purely for movement, but it's a very satisfying one. Yeah, I even try it on this wall to see if it'll break this wall, but no, it doesn't even damage the wall. So yeah, the wall jump's quite fun. And I quite like how here they actually use the light to show you the angles you're meant to be jumping at. It's a very cute little bit of tutorializing. So let's actually follow the tutorializing, shall we? These little wall cubbies. Yeah, so obviously we can't make it with the normal jump, so it's time to use our wall jump. Of course, we can go both vertically and horizontally, and we can also mix and match quite easily as well, which is very nice. It's not like some games where if you start a horizontal wall jump, you can only go horizontally. In this case, you can kind of switch between horizontal and vertical whenever you need to. But here we got quite close there. Nearly messed that up. But I guess this game does do a really good job of letting you save yourself from bad situations. So this room's a little bit complex, but of course it's kind of like a final exam for the wall jump. So yeah, we can actually kind of curve our wall jump around this little corner here to get onto the side of that pillar. And this is of course something I figured out just from the layout of the pillar. And of course, helping me save myself as well. Yeah, the flexibility of the corner jump is really impressive in this game. It's very fluid, but it's still tricky, you still have to be skilled at it. But the fact that you can save yourself so quickly, it really makes it feel satisfying to do. Like, the game's not expecting you to be too precise with it, but you can be precise enough that you can mitigate damage from doing something stupid. And that is always very fun in these kind of games. So don't do anything down there, so I'm just going to leave those little chickens alone to exist. Because they can't really get out that little cubby. There's really nothing in there that I can see. Wasn't sure if that was a note, but it's just a text on the table. And here we are, back in the opening room of the library. Let's open up a shortcut, shall we? So of course, before we actually move forward into this next room, this is the end of the video, but also just going to jump down just to test out, get the hang of using the shortcut to get back up again. Because it's just good to practice the corner jumps. So thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time, as I figure out how to get up this bookcase. Goodbye. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and check out my Patreon as well. Speaking of, thank you to James Rossi for supporting me on Patreon.